Black Pound Day. What is this new nonsense our mass media and neoliberal friends are pushing desperately? Well, it's basically segregating society, picking out a certain race, boycotting all their businesses. No, really, this isn't brass eye, this is real. And specifically promoting an or race over another. So something like this has happened before in history. I'm trying to think when. Was in the last 100 years or so, I think, anyway. I'm trying to picture exactly when. Was it the Scottish? Was it the Scottish? Wasn't the Scottish? No. Was it the Wachovite Empire? Those fantastic islanders. No, it wasn't those either. Tip of my tongue. I can't quite picture it. But they basically, these people I'm thinking of, were huge believers in racial segregation. Huge believers in discriminating against another race. The boycotting of businesses from another race. That was their main thing they really pushed. And of course, we've moved on since then. It's almost 100 years ago. Things have changed for the better. Nah, fuck it. Let's go back to that. Let's bring in Jim Crow, for Christ's sake. This is how these fucks actually think. And all the neoliberal, all the cultural Marxist channels, they're all promoting this. Funny enough, of course it's from Black Lives Matter as well, but all the big corporations, all the big fucking businesses, they're actually sponsoring Black Lives Matter. It's a joke. It's allegedly a revolution that's completely backed by big business. Pathetic. No, that's a worthy thing people should actually be doing. They should be fucking boycotting these businesses. The McDonald's, the Walmarts, the chains. It's something I go out of my way to actually do. And it was embarrassing that at the end of the COVID restrictions being slightly lifted in my own town, once McDonald's was back open again, there was fucking lines and lines of traffic to get into it. And it's a fucking shithole anyway. It's not even impressive. I wouldn't even call the burger what they give you. It's just chemicalized crap just to... No, that's something that should be boycotted. And you should be supporting local businesses. Don't fucking segregate it by a race, though. Fucking hell. Now, obviously, I'm against mass immigration, but I'm not against sensible immigration. There's certain immigration I support, and I'll go to businesses, even my local town, to support that. If you're getting a guy come in, open an Indian business in your town, and he's bringing that culture to your area, that's fine. That's fine. He's generating wealth to your town. He's bringing jobs to the town. It's a small business. He'll probably have a small family. Not a problem with that. What is a problem is mass immigration. It's when you've got thousands and thousands coming into your town, specifically the working minimum wage jobs and factories in your area. That's a fucking problem. That affects me, the working class, obviously. And that's why I've got problems with obvious things to get, and anybody should have a problem with that. Like any sensible person, I'm against the EU. And Ireland's a net contributor, one of the very few. Things are going to get really, well, probably completely fall apart once the UK officially leaves it. They've been trying to get out for ages, and, well, it should happen soon. They were one of the big net contributors. Now it's just Ireland. No, I'm an ordinary working class person, and I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, why the hell is Ireland a net contributor? We're 234 billion in debt. We're never going to pay that off. Why the hell are we a net contributor? Their argument's going to be, and it's a right-wing argument, it comes from the right-wing government and big corporations. Their argument is, we're bringing in freedom of movement. So the EU, a continent of, I don't know, 500 million people, maybe more, it gives, for the big corporations in Ireland, most of them then exploiting their low corporate tax rate, it gives them access to the cheapest labour possible they can get. It means all Irish working class have to compete with 500 million people for a minimum wage job. And I'm saying, well, how does this benefit me? But sure, the GDP, worship the GDP, it's going to get better. What? This doesn't help me at all. The reality is, for a huge chunk of the Irish population, they will never be able to get a raise beyond the minimum wage. And with such an influx of people coming in, the rent skyrocket. The ability to buy a house is impossible. It's quite common now for the few young families being started in Ireland who are working, for people who are working, they're still living in their mother's house. They can't afford to get out of it. That's a real concern. For decades and decades, Sinn Féin used to be completely against this, and they've just completely stabbed ordinary average working class in the back for this now. They've sold out to big business and, well, GDP. Embarrassing, pathetic. And again, non-chains. You should support them. Support your little local businesses. Anytime in Ireland I'm actually travelling anywhere for a holiday around Ireland, I always go to like rural sort of coastal places that haven't been hit with Lidl's and the Aldi's and the Walmarts and the fucking Tesco's and all the shit ones really. I try my best to like buy local fruit and veg from little farmers inside of the road. I have to make more of an effort to that. I will try to more now to tell you the truth. Especially with the humiliation of having to walk, falling little stupid arrows in the supermarket now and standing at a fucking line for COVID restrictions. It's a farce. It's embarrassing. Yeah, more so in Ireland than anywhere else. The only places you can find the real Ireland now, it is little rural villages in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, it's in the heart, it's in the soul. I try to support them as much as I can. That's where I try to always go. You'll not see me really spending much money in the cities in Ireland, to tell you the truth. And this actually happened in Ireland last year, where the right-wing government exploiting cheap migrant labour on a massive scale to drive down wages. If you call that out, well, they're looking to bring in hate speech laws to change that now, and they probably will come in very soon. Charlie Flanagan, he was one of the main guys behind it, son of an actual out-and-out fascist, Oliver Jay. But here's how retarded Ireland actually is. The far left groups, right? You saw them turn. There was a protest against Charlie Flanagan bringing this in, and you saw the far left groups, right, coming to support him, a right-wing fucking figurehead behind exploiting cheap migrant labour, scab labour, and that's who they sided with. They actually went and supported him. You couldn't make it up. But hey, Ireland is a shit show. And what they actually went to decide with Charlie Flanagan over was the ability to speak freely. And the thing is, what's going to happen is going to be the same thing that happened to the Labour Party in England. One of their members this week, well, she was expelled from the party because she was calling out Israel for their crimes against humanity, basically. And, well, see, that's the thing. You don't get to decide now what is hate speech. But you've accepted this, so you're a part of the problem. These people will have no say in what is and what isn't hate speech. I can't actually give offence. You can only take it. And the thing is, there was already legislation in place to cover this anyway. The Incitement to Hatred Act, I believe, is already there. Of course, that won't cover Black Lives Matter. Well, we know that. Similar to how the blasphemy law being changed, been taken away. That's only to kick the boot into Catholics and Christians. There's no way, right, you can offend Muhammad Islam, even though he's a child molester, a slaver. Ha! Ironically, yeah, he's one of the biggest slavers of all time. We're not seeing Black Lives Matter target him for some reason. Millions of people in England worshipping a slaver every week. Nah, it doesn't fit the narrative. We'll let that one go. We won't touch that one. Anyway, I've gone off on a slight tangent here. So I'm going to look at our non-existent media. Doesn't exist. Western media. It's just pathetic. I'm going to look at the big ones like BBC, Channel 4, Sky, whatever, and see how they're reporting this racial segregation, a return to Jim Crow. No, obviously, right? Any fucking mouthpiece with any integrity, speaking to a large audience, would be completely against this and called out for what it is. A fucking disgrace. Let's see how they run with it though. Here's the BBC. Black Pound Day. The campaign to put more pounds into black-owned businesses. In the wake of Black Lives Matter protests across the world, has left many people thinking of new ways to try to deal with racism and inequalities in all walks of life, including financially. So right, your solution is to be a racist cunt, basically. Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, we'll bring back Jim Crow. That's exactly what we need. Perfect. Swiss from Gary's collective So Solid crew is behind Black Pound Day. Right. That intellectual heavyweight Swiss from So Solid crew. Right, so this is a guy who's made millions in a predominantly white country. Millions. And not good enough. We need more racial segregation. We need to stoke the fires of racial hatred. It's been entirely pushed by Black Lives Matter. That's more important. Fuck off, you piece of shit. The idea is for people to make a conscious effort to spend money at black-owned businesses, either physically or online. Well, that would make you a racist prick, an absolute piece of shit. So this is the BBC's take on it. There's zero pushback to this. This is why they're reporting this story. Shocking, disgraceful. Here's Channel 4's take on it. The bastion of race hustle and shout. Black Pound Day, supporting black businesses. From Jordan Jarrett Bryan, sports reporter. I'm going to call that out. I think that's actually a bit racist that they've shoehorned in the sports reporter to cover this because he seems to be black and have dreads. Well, they seem to think that. They needed his picture in this, and embarrassing. We are being encouraged to spend money on businesses owned and run by black people today. It's part of an initiative called Black Pound Day, which aims to redress the economic balance between communities. No, it's there to drive a wedge between communities and pour yet more petrol on racial tensions. Cunts like you have been stoking up. Cunts like your channel have been stoking up the last month. Shame on yous. Its founder says the lack of ownership within the black community is a big driver of inequality. Yeah, this is the same guy as a multi-millionaire, made a fortune from So Salt Crew in a majority white country. Yeah, it's terrible. He had no chance at all, the poor little critter. And I think I'm boring you enough of that, but you get the gist of it. I'm not cherry picking these two news sources to cover the story. It's all of them are doing it. They're all doing the exact same thing. They're all doing this race hustling. It's a fucking disgrace. It's despicable. I never actually thought I would see it in my lifetime. People literally demanded a return to Jim Crow era style fucking politics. Mind-boggling. It's despicable, but it is what it is. This is where we are now. And yeah, call this shit out every time you see it. It's a disgrace. It's a joke. And it's basically me and about 3 other people on the entire planet calling out that the Empire has no clothes. Calling out BLM for the shit show that it is. Let's hope more people start speaking up. Soon we'll have enough to form 2 fists, maybe if we're lucky. And as usual, everything I've said here can't be refuted. It's a work of art, it's genius, so yeah, I'll leave it at that.